Good morning, my brothers and sisters. Welcome to episode number 5 in the book of Philippians. We're in chapter 1, a really famous verse today. For me to live is Christ and die is gain. Let me read. This is from Philippians chapter 1, verse 19. Yes, and I will rejoice, for I know that through your prayers and the help of the Spirit of Jesus, Christ will turn out for my deliverance. As it is my eager expectation and hope that I will not at all be ashamed, but with full courage, now as always, Christ will be honored in my body, whether by life or death. For me to live is Christ, and to die is gain. If I'm to live in the flesh, that means fruitful labor for me. Yet, which I shall choose, I cannot tell. Verse 23. I am hard pressed between the two. My desire is to depart and to be with Christ, for that is far better. But to remain in the flesh is more necessary on your account. All right, let me stop there. So first thing I'm going to title this, Being with You is my second choice. That's kind of my snarky title. The honor of Christ is a big thing that we need to pay attention to. So Paul is being imprisoned in the clutches of the most powerful empire that the world arguably has ever seen. So historically, we know that he actually leaves prison for a time, but I don't know if he knows this. And he is desperate here. He's invoking prayers and the Holy Spirit. This is a desperate, knee-bowing, groaning, hard, hand over your mouth kind of a prayer where he's imploring the help of the Spirit, the present person of the Trinity, the indwelling God who's teaching and groaning for him. He's activating that Spirit, walking with the Spirit. And how this turns out for circumstances here, either I stay and help you or I go to another world, which would even be better. So if it doesn't turn out here, it's going to turn out there. So if you are facing tough circumstances with temptations or your character or some fruit of the Spirit or dealing with some sin or just the perseverance of serving the Lord, if you're in the clutches of that, welcome to the book of Philippians. So was Paul. Paul had a difficult circumstance, and so do you. And so how does he respond to it? Verse 20. As it is my eager expectation and hope that I will not at all be ashamed, but that with full courage. Paul says, to man up. Don't give up. He says, get up. This is not my first day. It's with eager expectation. Christ has a history with me. The eager expectation is based on his history with Christ, and his priority is that Christ will be honored. The honor of Christ is the priority of this passage. I thought it was life and death, but it's not. It's the honor of Christ. Life and death is the secondary part of it. The honor of Christ is the highest priority. So if I survive this, if I get free, if I get to live, fine. I'm going to do that for the honor of Christ. But if I'm dying, and if this circumstance turns out to my so-called death, then fine. I'm going to call that gain. But in the meantime, I'm going to honor Christ. So I get to live for the honor of Christ, or I get to die for the honor of Christ. Verse 21, for me to live is Christ, and to die is gain. Now he says, my choice is to honor him no matter what happens. His choice, God's sovereignty, is whether I live. If I live in the flesh, well, that's more necessary for you. I get this fruitful labor for me, and Christ will be honored. If I get to live there, die, quote unquote, and be with him, if I'm departed, if I get to depart and be with him, quite honestly, that's far better. So let's review the theology. The theology is, the correct Christian theology is that no one that you know here on this planet, nobody is ever going to die. As in, like poof, be gone. Now, they will depart from here, but they are always going to be alive. They're either going to be alive and be with the Lord, or they're going to be alive and be without the Lord. I think that's the description of heaven and hell. So Paul says, hey, don't take this wrong. And I love being with you, but that's my second choice. My first choice is to, quote unquote, die. I'm putting that in air quotes. My first choice is to die and be alive there and be with the Lord. So we've done 1,000 episodes now of Be With Me. And Paul is saying, that's my goal here, is to really be, we kind of do it in a quiet time sort of a way. But Paul is saying, no, if I get to, quote, die, unquote, I get to go and actually be with the Lord. I feel like I'm preparing my funeral sermon here. And that is, it's gain. And how does he describe dying? He says it's gain. It's far better, and I get to be with the Lord. So in conclusion, are you facing a difficulty today? Well, it's good. So was Paul. Is it of the highest stakes? Good. So was Paul. Do you find yourself in desperation of prayer and the Holy Spirit and right on the edge and on your knees? Yes. Good. Are you depending desperately? Good. Now God has your attention. And then he says, face this with full courage, maintain the honor of Christ, man up, expect resolution, either in this life or in the life to follow. Have this sort of fixed resolve. So Paul faces this bad situation with full courage and with the expectation of God's presence, and he is not giving up. He is getting up. And know this, resolve to this, is I am here or I am there for the honor of Christ. I'm ready to, quote, die and depart. I'm ready to live forever. I'm ready to gain. I'm ready because it's far better. Or I'm ready to stay. I'm ready to, and if I'm going to stay, I'm going to man up in full courage. I'm going to pray. I'm going to employ the Spirit. I'm going to honor God in that way. Now, it's better and it's gain, and I get to be with the Lord. If that's me, ladies and gentlemen, I cannot wait. I cannot wait for that particular day. And I'm saying, sorry to hear this, folks, being with you is my second choice. So in a sense, this is my life verse, is that I want to honor Christ in the highest. If it's living here, great. That's wonderful. I'm going to man up and I'm not going to give it. But if it's living there, that's even better. It's gain. It's better. And then I get to be with him forever. Join me there. Can't wait to see you. Can't wait to live forever with you.